Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Gamma Ray Podcast. I'm Tim alongside Justin.
How's it going, guys?
And today's going to be a good one, guys. We're talking about Black Eyed Kids. Now, this might be new to some of the folks that are listening.
Yeah, it's a fairly new, like, kind of cryptid, paranormal kind of creature.
Yeah, I think it's a little hard to, when I was really thinking about it, I was like, what can you really classify them as? Because they're people, they're human-like, anyways.
Yeah.
When they're described, they're all fucked up looking.
That's the thing. A lot of the reports about them.
Yeah.
They look normal until you look them in the eyes. Then they have these like black soulless eyes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, still though, it's a creepy factor too that's up there.
Oh yeah,
pretty fucking high. But you know what, dude? Let's just dive into it because I want to know more about these guys because I'm still on the fence on whether I believe these things are even real or is it just kind of like an urban, internet urban legend, if you will.
True. So you say like we just said, man, they're new to the scene.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they haven't been around for a long time. All that means is that they've been, up until recently, they've been real good at keeping their secret.
Yeah, that's even more unsettling if they're able to pass that easily.
Yeah,
because I mean, I guess if you're just like walking by them, you're not.
Yeah, because
staring them in the face.
A lot of the reports I saw about them,
yeah,
they'll be looking down. When I was doing research on them, they don't look you dead in the eye until they've initiated contact with you,
kind of like targeted you.
Yeah, like you won't they'll just be any other kid out walking the streets until they've decided to pick you.
Okay.
But it said, dude, like these quote unquote kids, right?
Okay.
They always have the same kind of look about them. And all the reports, they've all been collaborated, the appearance, their age range. So it's never, I couldn't find anything that was like, oh, it's these two kids particularly. They always kind of look alike, and there's always two of them.
So they're like in packs almost.
Yeah, like I've seen reports of them where there's a boy and a girl, two boys. I've never seen one where there's two girls though, but that doesn't mean I just didn't find it yet.
Yeah, I mean, but it's weird too that like they have like a littler kid version and like a teenage fucking asshole version. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a predatory kind of thing where it's like you don't want to say, you might say no to a teenager.
It's a little
you wouldn't
harder.
Say no to a little kid.
That's a good point. Yeah, like you're more likely to want to help out.
Yeah, that might be part of their like tactic on it.
All right.
But dude, anyway, it's like they're supposed to be between the ages of 6 and 16.
Okay.
And like we just said, they've never been witnessed by themselves. It's always two. Excuse me. One will always be in their teenage years, tweens, roughly around there, not too old.
Right.
And then the other one's going to be more like an elementary school kid age.
Right. What?
Yeah.
So that's 6, 7, 8. Yeah. That age range. Yeah. That makes sense.
And they've always had, they're always described, as having pale skin.
Yeah.
Pitch black eyes, no whites showing whatsoever. And as far as like what they're wearing, it's pretty consistent as well. It's either usually hooded clothes, like a hoodie, a jacket,
like a hoodie,
something like
okay,
to cover their face up, so you can't see their eyes right away.
So they look like a modern teenager kid, even back in the 90s.
Pretty much. And I also saw a couple where they'd have antiquated clothing, like 1800s kind of clothing.
Why? What the fuck is that? How is that going to fool anybody?
I don't know.
How does that not make you stand out?
That's just one of the ones that haven't caught up to the times,
like how have you not figured that out? That's way creepier to see a fucking 6-year-old pale kid that looks like fucking
with
Pippin.
Ruffles down the an ascot,
yeah, that. Like fucking he looks
walking around looking
like a fucking vampire. Yeah, exactly. What the hell is that gonna do?
Just creep you out even more than anything else.
Dude. All right. So like more of the descriptions of these guys, though, like I did
Yeah.
some additional research on it too. But they're pretty unsettling, I think. So like they've been reported to have like a weird sentence structure and like a way, like a speech pattern about them. They
Yeah,
also
like
have,
they're not quite used to talking in English.
yeah, exactly. Like they're just not used to conversation.
Yeah.
So it always comes off as like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? You know, like something's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they have strange mannerisms that like a normal, quote unquote normal kid around their age wouldn't have. Like really like herky jerky kind of fucking movements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It reminds me of like I imagine it like how RoboCop moves.
Oh,
It's like, it's like,
yeah.
"Eh," and he like moves
Yeah.
like his body and his arms come up. You'll enjoy that in the YouTube video because I'm actually doing it. I know it's an audio medium, but it's there. So it's very off-putting. You know, they're often
I would say yes.
Yeah,
You
I
got
mean,
two kids just walking up to you.
yeah, and they're also
That
like they're
alone.
seeing like hitchhiking, or they're just it's just the two or three of them in a fucking like parking lot, completely isolated from anybody. Which
Yeah.
right off the bat, creepy factor goes through the fucking roof.
Yeah. Now, actually, that reminds me of one story I saw.
Mhm.
It's about a man. He was a security guard for a warehouse,
Okay.
only one in the building,
All right.
and he's watching the cameras. And as he's watching them, he sees these two kids, like kind of slowly walk into the light from the street lights that they had.
Like Humphrey fucking Bogart.
Yeah, like yeah, they just
Okay.
slowly kind of creep into from the darkness into.
Right. Okay.
He's like, "What the hell is that all about?" So they start like kind of walking towards the building a little bit.
Right.
Then he hears them knocking on the door. Well, he's like, "No, I gotta get these kids out of here. They don't need to be here."
Okay.
So he goes to the door, opens it up, getting ready to be like, "Yo, get the fuck out of here. Go. You know, you ain't supposed to be here. How the
Right.
hell do you
She's
even get in?"
shooing kids off. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when he opens the door, they're not there. Like his office isn't that far away from the door.
So are they ghosts or are they people?
Well, that's a whole like
How the fuck did they do that? If I
well,
didn't
there's
know
been reports
vanishing
that they can like
was like a skill
no,
they
I
possessed.
saw a couple of them where it's they just kind of fade away.
Like
Like they go
dematerialized.
into like they'll just kind of like turn into shadows. But he goes to he goes to yell at them and they're not there.
Right.
So he's like, well, when we go check the cameras again, but as he gets to the computer, he sees that one's by the door he just opened, and the other one's on the other side of the building, behind the building, staring, and they're looking right at the camera like they could see who's watching them.
Like they know that they're being watched. So they're watching the watcher.
Yeah, like they know he's at the computer right now.
Right.
He's watching them. So almost to me, dude, that seems like a pincher maneuver. They cut off his exit.
Yeah.
So he keeps watching them. And some of the report, they didn't start smashing on the door,
Right.
eventually
They were loitering.
yeah.
Okay.
And
So they're breaking the law.
eventually the one in the back disappears. And he reappears next to the one that's in the front of the building.
Okay.
And then they just kind of shuffle off screen, right? And then just disappear. They don't show up on any more cameras.
So what was the point I guess what was the point of even being there? Just to fuck with the guy?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's nothing saying that they
Oh, okay.
can't just
Well, I
scare the
guess
shit out you.
They just Well, you would
They-
think that like if they could just like vanish into thin air, they wouldn't have a problem like getting into somebody's car or their
True,
house.
but I think a car or a house is more of like
Property. Like it's
like it would have the way I read it was like human energy
okay.
where where
gotcha.
they can't enter something that belongs to you.
Okay.
So maybe that's why they were just fucking with them.
Okay.
Because
Well,
it was a
actually-
warehouse.
Well, actually, that you say that too, though. So a lot of the reports too have them like not only are they hitchhiking or they're in like some weird, out of the way area. They also
Yeah.
show up to your fucking house.
Imagine
Like, well, they're either asking to be let in or they're straight up demanding it.
Yeah.
like like you're
Yeah,
knocking on the door.
they'll ask first,
Yeah,
and then
and
kind
then
of
yeah, they get a little bit more pushy. So
yeah.
a common reason that they give is like, hey, we're lost. Uh, we need to call our parents to come pick us up. Would you mind if we waited inside your house? Like,
Yeah, it's
no,
a terrible idea.
the porch is good.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
sit
just
on the
sit right on
stoop.
the stoop. Yeah.
Yeah, you can sit on the stoop, but that's as far as you're fucking going, kids. I don't know if I would do that for a family member. I'm like, no, outside's good.
Yeah, yeah. Stay outside, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you can fucking wait. So I mean, like it's kind of like those old vampire legends, right?
Yeah,
Where it's kind
yeah.
of like you were saying, where they're not allowed to come into your car or into your house unless they've been invited.
Yeah. You have to give them permission.
Right. And they will literally use the terminology, let us in, because they have that weird droning.
Yeah.
They don't really have like
Just that
inflection
alone.
on their voice.
Yeah. Yeah, just that alone, dude, would be like, nah, bro.
Right. I think that's before you really notice their eyes too.
Yeah, like
but
some of the reports I read about them is it'll either be right before this or right after the let us in.
right. So they're knocking,
And then
they're
they'll
pounding on
look,
the door.
they look up at you,
Right.
right? And then that's when you'll see their eyes.
So I mean, but they're knocking on the door. They're like, hey, we got this really elaborate, well, not really elaborate, but this excuse.
It's a
why
sympathy story.
Right. We need to come in.
Try to break down your walls.
It's scary. It's scary to think. It's scary to think that how many times this might have worked before they were noticed.
I mean, yeah, if they are real and all this, probably quite often.
Yeah, I mean, I think
especially back in the 90s,
kids and stuff,
80s,
yeah,
back when everyone wasn't as wary about everything.
You're not. I mean,
go
you're
back
definitely
even farther.
Not, you're definitely not as worried about like a 14, 15-year-old kid and a fucking 6 or 7-year-old. You're not super worried that they're gonna do something. I think, even if they could, you could, you're like, well, I can overpower these. They're just kids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not that worried about it.
What full-grown adult doesn't think they can at least manhandle a 14-year-old who's trying to,
exactly
break into their house?
Yeah, you wring his fucking neck.
Yeah,
he's a kid.
But that's what the whole point. Like, if it was two,
I don't know. Some of these kids nowadays, man, know like fucking Krav Maga and like jujitsu and stuff. Like,
yeah, but like
a rear naked choke. That's it.
But you're not on as guard with a little kid around as you would be with two teenagers.
Right. So also what would happen is if they are, so they're like, hey, let us in. And you're like, nah, that's fucking not happening, bud. Like you're not coming in. Well, they get way more aggressive and they get agitated. They start getting demanding and they're getting like angry about it.
Yeah.
And they've even been known to like start smashing like on your door to your house or door to your car,
like screaming.
Yeah, they get like super, super agitated because I don't think they're expecting somebody to say no.
Yeah,
it's almost like maybe it's like a disappointment thing too, because they're not, whatever it is that they're gonna do if they somehow get invited into your house is what they were looking forward to. And now they can't.
So they're gonna try to use the sweet option.
Right.
And then, but see, a lot of the reports that I read about these guys, right? Like with the people, like if you had the misfortune of encountering these things,
right?
Black-eyed kids or Becks or BEKs, whatever you want to call them. They say
Becks. Like Becks. It's easier to say. And shorter.
Well, a lot of people said they almost had like a hypnotic quality about them.
Well, I think that goes back to that droning tone of voice too. Like hypnotists do that. If you ever seen like somebody, I don't really know if I believe it, if people even get hypnotized.
Close your eyes. Your eyes are getting
when
heavier.
You wake up, you will be, a fucking monkey, and then they run around, they act like a monkey,
Yeah. Well, like if we're going with the supernatural side of it,
okay.
Figure like they'd have like a magical presence to kind of force your will into letting them in. So that's another reason why we might.
It's almost like a psychic
exactly.
Too. Yeah,
like they're kind of trying. this is before you see their eyes,
Right.
before you start getting like absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
I
like they're
already
trying to
would be.
pull you, like pull your decision making into agreeing with them.
Right. So they're like trying to like, so they won't have control over your free will, but they can give you like psychic.
They have like control. They're trying to like gain control over your action.
Right. So like they have like a psychic suggestion they're putting into
Yeah,
you.
like because that's
oh,
all
these
they
kids
need.
aren't so bad. I can probably trust them.
They need you to open the door and they need you to say you can come in, or come on in, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as you give them the permission to come in.
Right.
Now, that's the whole thing. Like they're not very threatening looking. Like when you first look
No.
at them, it's like, oh, just a couple kids. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
But then, like right around time you start seeing, you get filled with this sense of dread,
I do that
like
every
a
time I see a kid.
primal. It's
I
like
get
a
a sense of dread.
primal fear.
Right.
You know how like when you see a snake, you're like, oh shit.
Well,
You know?
I think maybe even the better option is like when like it happened to me today, actually. Like I was driving to the store and like a person like right next to me got pulled over by the cops.
Oh, dude.
And you get like that pit in your stomach and your heart just drops.
You
right to
see
your
those
fucking
lights
butt.
come on behind you?
You're like,
and right next to
oh
you?
God. And you're like very confused because you're like, I don't know if I've done anything illegal in the last 20 seconds. I don't know. And then
I
you're
don't
like,
know what's
oh,
happening. You just immediately
That-
look down at
that's a fucking sense of dread.
Yeah.
You're like,
This is
oh my
like-
God.
like overwhelmingly, like your fight or flight instinct kicks in hard.
Okay.
I've read some accounts where it was an old man, and the first thing he did was run and grab a shotgun. Like he was
Yeah.
peeping through his fucking his door.
Well,
He
I
saw
think,
those two kids. He immediately ran into his room, grabbed the shotgun.
why is that your first reaction?
It's
I guess maybe it depends on where you are.
well,
Certain
no,
parts of
it's
country.
the whole part is that like we said, like the hypnotic effect. So you want to open the door,
Right.
You want to let them in, even though in the back of your mind you're like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Right.
And like I said, real quick with this older man, his fight instinct kicked in,
Okay.
went and grabbed his shotgun, flung the door open, and they're not there. Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, I think I can get on board with that, especially if they're using some sort of psychic communication. Then maybe they're a little bit. heightened sense,
They
too.
seem to know what you're doing behind the door.
Yeah, that would bring in
Or-
the psychic part of it.
Yeah, or like through the camera, like the other one I just talked about.
Right.
They seem to already know what you're up to.
That's gotta be so frustrating when you know all that and you still have to be like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah,
You have all that power.
but you still have, but you can't do nothing
Yeah,
until
you're invited.
you're invited in. And that's like the thing too. Like a lot of these people who encounter them, they don't have any lasting effects. They're terrified, but then once the kids are gone, they give them a couple of days, they feel great,
Right, they're back
back
to
to
normal.
normal. Maybe they're a little more wary.
They're a little
Nothing-
shaken, maybe. I can see
Yeah,
it
but
being
nothing
shaken
that's
by
going to
it.
be like
It's not traumatic.
psychosis kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
you know what I
not
mean?
traumatic. Yeah.
But there have been reports of other people who get, after they encounter them, having like absolutely terrifying nightmares and agoraphobia,
Agoraphobia.
which, in case people don't know what that is an extreme or irrational fear
Mhm.
of entering, excuse me, of entering open or crowded spaces, of leaving one's own home, or being in places from which escape is difficult.
Okay.
So
Maybe I'm a little
they get this,
agoraphobic.
brand new, what's the word I'm looking for? The fear.
Yeah. Fear.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one.
Like it just absolutely destroys these people's lives. It doesn't, luckily, doesn't happen to everybody.
yeah. If it's,
I think it might depend on the length of your of what you deal with them.
well, what just popped in my head was it's maybe you're more psychically open, or
That's-
those people maybe are the ones that have those lasting effects. If you're more psychically open to the world and you're more
Yeah,
just
maybe that hits you a
open-minded to
little
things like
harder.
that, yeah, it hits you a little harder. 'Cause
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of these things are like that, like ghosts. Like you can want to see a ghost all you want, and you can go into the most haunted house in the world
and see nothing.
and see nothing. But
Okay,
that
and
I think it's a nice balance. Like you have to like, oh, yeah, you're there to find evidence or something, but you're not like so desperate to see it that it won't happen for you. Like you just maybe it's you want it to happen so bad that
yeah,
you've actually closed yourself off to the experience, and maybe that's something like this. Is
yeah.
that they're so open to an experience like this, or just enough that it
Well,
just
here's the
tears their
thing
mind apart.
about that, right? There's been reports that they approach people who already kind of know about them, who are thinking about them,
Who have heard the stories before?
yeah, who know of them,
Okay.
right? Which
So they're okay.
that's
All
yeah,
right.
right there. That could be a reason why we don't already know a lot about them.
Yeah, they're
'Cause
targeting.
they go,
the peop-
yeah, exactly. They target the people. They
Yeah.
don't want you to know, spread the word about them of who they are, what they want.
Right.
And I mean these things do almost kind of feel almost like the Men in Black, like
It's very
With
Men
the
in Black sounding.
pale skin, the strange movements, the strange
Yeah, they're way off
speech
talking.
patterns.
Yeah, they talk
Yeah.
like this, like they're almost like robotic.
Yeah, and they have this like mysteriously, and they have like a weird aura about them.
So you could just get like like that vibe.
Yeah, like you see them because again, more reports, people kind of see them and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you'll see people, especially the ones who are putting out the story about them. Like other people will kind of see them and like almost drift away from them, like they weren't even thinking about it. Kind of,
Okay.
it's a weird. I've only seen that in a couple
Okay.
stories I read about them, but
Sure. I mean, it's still there's just something so off-putting about the combination that they're choosing to use to try to lure people. You know,
yeah,
like the teenager, the little kid, because I mean, any normal person is going to see a kid asking for help, especially that young, are
and
going
they're
to
not
be.
going to think twice about it.
No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, absolutely, little guy. Like,
A
fucking, I
lot of
got
these
you.
people,
I'll help
who
you
put out
out.
the
I'll
story-
call you. Let's call your parents. Let's call the cops.
they'll
Whoever we need to
say
call.
that once they get this sense of dread, have an impending doom, kind of
It throws it
that
off.
they almost feel bad.
Yeah, that
for
might be that
thinking it.
psychic part coming in again.
Yeah, well,
I think
they
a lot of this has to do
because
with
if
that.
it was a regular kid, two regular kids who didn't
Yeah.
put off this kind of vibe,
Yeah,
they wouldn't think twice. Yeah, come on in. Here's my phone. Okay, you can wait inside or you can wait outside. Either way,
well, nowadays you can give them your phone, but
Yeah.
if these reports are coming in from the 80s and 90s,
yeah. Well, a
most
lot of
people
these are from like mid to late 90s.
yeah,
I mean, it's still happening.
well, it's still, but even then, they don't. Cell phones weren't really.
No, they weren't a thing.
Well, I mean, they were around, but they were
Yeah,
the
but
big fuckers, and a
they
lot of
weren't
people
like,
didn't have them.
Here's my phone out of my pocket. Call
Yeah.
your parents. Because a lot of
You'd
these
have to
were
have a
like,
huge fucking pair of
these
pants
people
on
had,
with
like,
big ass pockets that hold those
landlines.
fucking. You'd have to have a
Yeah.
huge pair of pants to hold those cell phones.
but a lot of these people had landlines.
Well, exactly.
So it wasn't.
Let me in.
It wasn't like you could just here's the phone. No, you had to let them
Well,
in.
I remember like my grandmother having like the fucking 25-foot cord.
True.
Just put it through like
What's the
mail
number
slot.
here?
Put the
Yeah,
phone
just-
through the mail slot. What's the number? I'll fucking
Yeah.
call for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm helping you, but I'm also not stupid. I'm not gonna just let you know what I mean. Some
Yeah,
fucking
that's-
kids into my house,
Oh yeah.
especially if you have kids and they're in the house with you. You're
Yeah,
way
I mean, right there-
less likely to let anybody in that house.
I mean, right there. If you got kids in the house, you're already more on guard.
If you have kids in the house and you're thinking about black-eyed kids, you might be thinking of something else. You might just be a terrible father. You know,
I
because
got two
like if they're
black-eyed kids
coming
right now, sitting at the house.
if they're coming after people who are thinking of them and they're targeting them, I don't know, man. That might be a discussion for a therapist.
Well, luckily though, nothing I've read or found has stated anybody had kids with them
Thank
when they were
God.
approached.
Thank God.
It was
man.
always usually like single people in their 20s and 30s. It was always
that
elderly
makes
people.
sense. That makes sense to me
They
because
love when you're by yourself.
yeah, that you're way more you're like cornered essentially.
Yeah, you're more susceptible
Right.
to doing it
And
by yourself than you would be if you had a whole group with you.
right. And I think a lot of people's I mean most normal people's probably fight or flight is to run
Oh yeah.
from
Well, if
something
you're
like
at your
that.
but if you're at your home, well, you don't want to run from your home. You
No,
know
I'm
what
packing.
I mean?
I'm not running
Yeah,
nowhere.
same too. Yeah. Hold
Yeah.
on a minute, man. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Let me get that phone for you.
Yeah.
It's got 12 numbers. You'll have to figure it out. Yeah,
And it
fuck
dials so
that.
fast you won't even believe it.
No way, man. All right, so I mean, there have been a lot of speculation about what the Becks are,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
what they are, where they come from. The demonologists have gotten on board with this too.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
so
interesting to get them involved.
Yeah, so they're saying that they're like the children of the devil himself. Or they might even be fucking vampires, which if they're vampires, that is a fucking dope way to live your life. Is being a
Yeah, I
fucking
mean,
vampire. That's
well,
cool.
I mean, a lot of these kids like almost have a vampire like quality to them,
Well, you have to
except
think,
for the black eyes. Like
no, I mean if you watch
I don't think I've ever seen a
movies
like
and
a
shit, they turn black.
yeah,
every
but
once in
I'm
a
talking
while.
about like stories of them that aren't
Well,
like
so if they're the children of the devil, that means they're demons,
yeah,
right? And like I'm a fucking supernatural fan, and guess what happened every time somebody turned into a goddamn demon?
black eyes.
Black eyes.
Yeah,
Every single time. That's how you knew who they were. It's but like when you're talking about the vampire side of it, I think it's a lot of it is like that modern take on vampires that they're pale. You know what I mean? That they have weird movements and shit like that. That
yeah,
they're
almost yeah, like they're stuck out of time.
like a pseudo psychic ability about them. Things like that. So it's definitely has some of that pop culture view
Yeah,
attached to
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I can see why somebody would make that logical step to saying, well, maybe they're vampires. But if they're
Would because that
vampires,
would be explain the whole let me in. I can't come in until I'm invited. So
yeah, but why are they going to people's houses and like to people who are already in their fucking cars?
yeah, that's
Why
the
aren't they
one thing.
why aren't they walking up to these people when they're like walking to the car
I don't
or
know,
when
man.
they're entering their house?
I haven't found anything that
So
stated
that's why I
why
think
they do what they do.
that's why I think you can just cross fucking vampires off this list. I don't think it's gonna hold its weight with vampire. Now demons, now that's maybe.
That I think,
That's a-
yeah, I
that's a
think that
maybe.
holds more weight.
So the stories of these guys, like we said before, I mean, it's been started getting mass reported in the 80s, 90s, and up till I think probably even till this day, Black
Yeah.
Knight encounters. But the oldest story that we were able to find came from the Iroquois Indians up in the northeastern United States and stuff like that. And according to the legend, these kids are called something called the Atkan, and I guarantee I am not saying that correctly.
Yeah, there's no way you're either one of us are going to pronounce that
Yeah,
properly.
Atkan. It sounds
It's
like a fucking
OT.
transformer or something.
OTKON.
Yeah, you figure it out. So they believe that they draw it in like a dark power called the Akon. That was the name of the power itself, right?
Yeah.
The
Not
entity,
the
if you will.
creature, but I guess it would be the
like the essence, like the entity
Yeah.
of it.
okay.
And it had the power to take over the kids. And the evil one, right? They called it the evil one, would mate with human females, produce black-eyed, your chalky, pale skinned kids.
Kind of
what
like
you're seeing,
an
kind of-
incubus.
yeah, I think I'm agreeing because I don't really know.
Well, an incubus would be the male one that seduces women.
Yeah, that makes more sense because it goes in you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then the succubus sucks it out of you. So that
Yeah.
makes more sense with the male and female thing. I never thought
Yep.
about it like that. I just came up with that right up top of my head. So when the kids were born, the tribe would actually fucking kill the kids and then
Oof.
burn, yeah, and then they would burn the poor things so they wouldn't like resurrect and come back and get the fucking other kids in the tribe, you know?
So essentially, they were just killing albinos when they were born.
Dude,
That's fucked up,
I
man.
hate anything like that that has to do with kids, man. It's especially babies, you know? Like,
Yeah,
man, like maybe, yeah. I don't know. When my kids were born, they looked a little fucking weird.
they all. I have yet to meet a baby that was born that didn't look
It
weird.
was all purple and fucking like,
Yeah.
you know, like all like scrunched up and it had like the weird, like it was on gang symbol hands, you know what I mean? It was fucking horrifying.
Yeah, they look. Yeah, they look terrible when they're 1st
They're
born.
covered in blood. It's like, yeah, man, like, yeah, they look a little fucking strange. Give them a couple days. Don't just kill them immediately. But look, I mean, it sounds like they just
I
they
mean,
did that, but they
Of course, though,
that
like
belief
it's
was
their
so strong.
legend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the belief was so
that-
strong in it.
it was an evil entity trying to.
Well, the Akon, it's kind of like reminds me a little bit of like the Kandarian demons from Evil Dead, where like some of the kids, like if you're even just walking in the woods by yourself, the Akon can come and just take you over.
Oh,
And
yep.
then
Okay.
once that power was in them, then their skin would turn white. Their eyes got the pitch black tint to them. And they would walk around all like shaky and just like that wonky way of moving. And then have that weird tone to their voice too. And they would repeat themselves over and over and over. You know,
Okay.
whatever the Iroquois version of "Let Me In" is.
Yeah, whatever.
Or you know, I wonder
Of
what
course,
the
"Let Me
excuse
In"
was.
might even be a new thing.
I wonder what the old excuse was during the Indian time, Native American times. You know,
That's a good question.
I need to call my mom to come pick me up. I don't think that's gonna fly.
No,
if you're
I mean,
like in
it
an
might
Adobe
be
or a TP or
one of the excuses is we're lost.
yeah, but the thing is that if it's a kid from the tribe, hey, people know who he is.
True. Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not a
because it
stranger.
wouldn't be like a damn city. It would be
Yeah, they're in
what,
the
20, 30
they're in,
buildings, nothing.
whatever settlement they have.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just very curious about what those excuses were back then. I can't imagine.
Was
God,
yeah,
it must have been so boring to live back then. So like when the Akon took over people, the kids more specifically, because I guess they're just I don't know, maybe weaker in some physical.
they might
way.
just be more susceptible because there are
And yeah, kids are
theories
supposed to
where
be more
kids are
open.
yeah,
Yeah, they're supposed to be more
They're-
open psychically.
they can see through the veil easier than adults can.
Right. So the goal of them was to actually destroy the tribe and then infect as many people as they could. You know, so it's just Akon got probably I would assume the legend is that the more people it was in, the stronger it became.
Yeah, I mean that's a very real possibility. That's how a lot of those things end up.
I mean, when a lot of the Beck reports, you don't let them into your house, don't let them into your car. Their voice will start to change and shit will get real sinister real fucking fast. And you know, like they're not a normal kid. They're not a normal teenager, not a normal, you know.
Yeah, you'll
elementary
find that
school
out
kid.
real quick too.
I mean, well, the origins are still a little bit of a mystery. I mean, I guess the Iroquois could be maybe where it got started. It's just it feels like such
That's
a long
about
time
as-
ago.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything like later than that. But that
That's
doesn't
pretty
mean-
far back. I
Yeah,
mean, that's pretty far back. I mean, but for it to go dormant,
well, see, that's the thing. I don't think it ever did. Because think about back
maybe
in,
maybe they used to be really, really good at it.
well, back hundreds, thousands of years ago, however far back you want to go.
Yeah.
You didn't have you had a stronger sense of community with your village or your tribe or whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're walking through the woods at night,
Yeah.
there's no street lights.
Yeah.
They can get up to you real easy.
Yeah.
And I think if these things are real, they've probably been real good at killing for a long time.
Right. So
Whatever the hell they do.
But
I
the
assume
main
they kill,
the main reports started, in the 80s, 90s, and up to today. And I think a lot of that is probably just this dissemination of information is a lot better now than it
yeah.
ever was. So the stories are getting out faster, almost instantly. 1998 into the 2000s.
We just social media in general, dude. It just
Right.
explodes.
Well, so the one of the main stories that always come up when you research the Becks is this guy Brian Bethel, and he was in Abilene, Texas. So he recorded his encounter in 1996. As he retells it, he was driving late at night, and he had stopped in like this, just a parking lot, and he was finishing. It's a parking lot with a movie in like a movie theater area.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
there's like a movie theater like right there. It was probably one of those like kind of like shopping plexes, you know what I mean, where it's like the movie theater's in the middle and then all the other kind of places are around it, like utilities and stuff. And that's actually what he was doing. He was filling out one of his utility bills back when you had to write a fucking check and leave it like in the overnight slot. And
drop
pray to
box.
God that somebody fucking got it. You couldn't pay online like you can now. And while he was doing that, he had his head down. He's writing his stuff, right? So he's not really aware to his peripheral.
Yeah, he's focused.
Area. And two kids approached his car. The older two kids knocked on his window and asked to give him a ride home, right? So they're at the movie theater. The kids walk up to the car and knock on the door. And you're like, hey, fucking.
Yeah, which isn't.
Roll the window down motion.
Yeah, which isn't even that big of a.
No,
like a coincidence, because
if it's at nighttime,
you're somewhere. But then again, like you're somewhere where kids should be.
Movie theater.
Right. So it's not even like, oh, I was out on the dirt road.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
That's fair. That's fair to say. So they gave him the old roll the fucking window down motion. So he rolls the window down, and the kids are like, hey, can you give us a ride home? We forgot our money and we want to go see a movie at the movie theater. Well, the dude, Brian, knew that they were full of shit. Right? Because the movie had already started. It's late at night.
Yeah, so
the movie's already
another one
started.
starting.
Right. There's not going to be. It's at that point of the time. If you've been to the movies enough, when they stop showing movies.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
like
even real late
showings.
ones.
Yeah, I don't even. Did
10.
they have 11 o'clock showings back then? I don't know. Maybe.
I honestly, I don't know. I didn't bother to.
But
look
either way, he knew that the movie wasn't starting anytime soon.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're like, give us a ride, and he's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And they said, well, they came up with that droning voice, it's not like we have a gun or anything, it's like, which
That's
is
not
already
suspicious
alarming
at all.
It's already
If you
alarming.
say, hey man, I don't have a gun or anything in my back pocket, I'm definitely assuming you have a gun in your
Right.
back pocket.
So like they gave him that excuse, and it will only take a few minutes to get to our house. Like that weird, just fucking strange tone and that strange sentence structure is just very weird. And the dude hit the fucking gas as fast as he could, and he got the hell out of there. And right before he left, though, they started getting really, really pissed off, and they started getting angry at him. They started hitting the car, demanding to be let in. So he just, he like fucking hightailed it out of there. And then he reported, that when he was driving away, he looked in the mirror, what you normally would do.
Especially if you're driving away from something.
And you think somebody or something is following you, you're looking in the rearview mirror, and they had just gone.
Vanished.
Poof. They're nowhere to be found. Almost like they were never there to begin with.
Yeah. But see, that kind of adds to like the stories I've been telling, where they have the ability to like phase into the shadows.
Right. Which, I've never, of the research that I've done on this, I don't recall any encounters during the day.
No, I haven't seen one where it was during the daytime.
Yeah, it's always night.
And it's, a lot of them too is like, once you realize that they're not human.
Right.
It's I read a couple of them where they like look through the peephole on their door, and they know the front porch light or the back porch light is on, and it's just pitch black.
Yeah.
You can't see the light, and the light might be literally right in front of your door.
Right.
It'll just be all dark, so you can't look back out. It's almost like they're stopping you from being able to check to see if they're still there. They want you to open that door again.
Yeah. But that's still not an invitation.
No, but if they got you face to face,
I guess that's the goal. Is like a right in
Yeah.
your fucking grill and be like, you need to let us in your house. I
yeah,
need to call my mom. So why is your mom letting you just roam the fucking streets at 11 o'clock at night?
yeah. What the fuck? You
What
have
is wrong with the
parents,
parenting
bro.
around here? This is not
There's
a good
four
episode
pair
for
of kids
parents.
tonight.
This is not a good episode for parents.
No, it is not.
You know?
But see, dude, you know what though?
And his like 8-year-old little your kid brother. He had a
Yeah,
15-year-old.
but what the fuck are you guys doing out?
Yeah.
Which right off the bat, dude, would set you off
Yeah.
in terms of like something's not right. What the hell are these two
Yeah.
clearly minors
Right.
doing out? Because it's been 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12, whatever.
Right.
What the hell are you doing out?
I don't know, man. Like the
And the
whole
only
thing is
time-
so fishy. It seems like they would, at nighttime, you're more on alert, I think, when it comes to
But yeah,
things
I mean,
like
there's a
this.
reason why a lot of humans have fear of the dark.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck's out there. That's evolutionary.
Yeah, that's the fear of the unknown.
Exactly. You don't know what's out there. You don't know what's looking at you.
And your mind races and your anxiety level goes up. Yep. But why I'm curious as why they don't try it during the day. Maybe they'd have more success. People are a little bit less guarded during the day, but now that I'm thinking
It would be
about
harder to hide their
the
eyes.
eyes and the skin tone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just
Because at
thinking about
night,
that.
I mean, like, maybe under a light, like a lamppost or your porch light or whatever.
Well, if you got the hoodie on, it's
Hood
pulled
up.
over, it's kind of pulled down over your face, and the shadow kind of cascades down.
Yeah. It won't be until you like move the hood back.
Yeah, but it's like, why reveal the fucking eyes? Why reveal your eyes if that's the number one trigger? People are like, fuck no, you're not coming to my house.
Who knows, man? It's not like there's a rule book for these guys. So
It's fucking
but
crazy.
the only thing I've only found
Doesn't
one
make sense.
story of like actual consequences against them by letting them in.
Okay.
This older couple lets them in,
Yeah.
lets them use the phone. I assume they just made a fake phone call.
Yeah.
These people's cats, they had 4 cats. Not one of their cats would come anywhere near the room they're in.
So they
Yeah.
kind of
They all went and hid.
that's that's good backup info though for the idea that it's psychic somehow.
Yeah, because the whole cats
Animals.
yeah. Well, those cats were terrified. And right off the bat, dude, like they let them in and then almost immediately regretted it because they finally saw their eyes. Like the 2 kids are sitting on their
So
couch.
they didn't get the benefit of seeing it before. They were like, yeah, come on.
Yeah,
in.
yeah. The wife let them in before she saw their eyes.
Of course she did.
But, so they're
God
sitting on the
damn it,
couch.
Karen.
You son of a bitch. But they're sitting on their couch and they're not saying nothing. They're not answering any questions.
Mhm.
Nothing. They're just silent, sitting there. The husband notices their eyes right around the same time the wife does. And right before they leave, because that's the thing. They went, let us in. We need to call our parents. They call the parents.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, they both lift their like this. And
Yeah.
They lift their head up
Okay.
and simultaneously go, our parents are here. And they just get up and walk out of the house. And
That's
then
not so bad.
no, but here's the thing, like that gone. They walk out of the house. The wife looks out. They're not there.
Did a car show up?
Not that I saw from it, but it may be. But
What the hell is the goal?
well, here's the thing, dude. So the husband has his hands like this, like over his mouth, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Right.
He pulls his hand away and it's covered in blood.
Mm.
He's got a terrible nosebleed.
Okay.
And it goes on for a couple days after this. Not only he keeps getting these terrible nosebleeds.
Mm-hmm.
And what actually, dude, one of their cats, I think 3 of them died or ran away. And then one was found in a pool of its own blood.
The damn animals had died.
Yeah. But here's the thing, too. The husband goes and goes to the doctor for his nosebleeds.
Yeah.
Finds out he has like a terminal skin cancer.
That didn't manifest itself until the encounter.
It started showing up
Jesus.
when these kids showed up, and then the wife started showing symptoms of I couldn't find out what kind of cancer, but she
Okay.
started showing starting to degrade as well.
Jesus.
So these things are almost like, if you go off of that story, because that was the only one where I found where they let them in.
Right.
Everybody else is always
Smart.
not let them in, went and hid, locked all the doors, called friends, called the
Right.
cops. This is the only one I found where they let them in, and they both, I assume the wife died as well.
Right. So we don't know.
So almost like plague carriers in a way.
Well, I mean, if
Like
you
they showed
remember,
up
if you
and they
remember
gave
stories about the
cancer.
plague, there was like people on reporting seeing entities at the edge of town wearing hoods with like pale skin, and
Then again,
that's
it
when
could
the
be
black
them.
plague would show up in their fucking
Yeah.
town.
But the cancer part was like they showed up, and before this, as far as I could tell, they were perfectly healthy.
Right.
And
Jesus.
the wife retold the story, and she said she believes those two black-eyed kids killed her husband, killed her cats, and it's causing her to die.
It's never good when they kill your pets too.
Well, that's the thing.
It's going
They
too
didn't kill
far.
them when they were there. They all died like days after they left.
Jesus Christ, man.
But then again, you already let them in the house.
Right.
If we're going off kind of like the vampire lore, they don't need to ask again.
Right. They're already been invited in. That's it.
Yeah. So they're good to go. They can come and go as they please. And there's nothing saying that they can't be invisible.
Right.
Like if they're demons or ghosts or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
There's nothing saying that they have to be corporeal at all times.
I'm still on the fence about what to actually categorize them as. I'm still not quite sure.
That's a problem because, like I said, man, there are stories of them, like with the Iroquois. There's even stories back in Ireland,
right,
that I found. Just real quick on this, where some of the older people, you ask them, and they'll say that they're evil fairies, because there's the good fae and the bad fae,
right?
And the bad ones will trick you by transforming into a human.
What the hell is a fae?
A fairy. That's just what they.
Oh,
that's just what they call them.
Oh, fucking drunk Irish.
They were too drunk to say fairies. Fae. But I mean, I won't go into that whole thing because there's not a whole lot to it.
Right.
But
so there's more than one place. They're seeing them.
Yeah. Multiple. I mean, even the Ireland one, they still need permission to come into your house. I didn't see anything where it said they had black eyes. But there are stories of.
It seems like it would be the next logical feature they would have.
But I saw they could transform into humans. They'd have to be invited in, and then that's when they kill you or do whatever they're going to do to you.
Christ.
Yeah,
all right.
These things are like some of these stories, man, that go back thousands of years, hundreds of years.
Right.
These things could be way older than that.
But we're really just hearing about them.
Yeah. So they've been real good at keeping their secret for a very long time.
Well, I think at this point, we should just go ahead and give a public service announcement saying, don't fucking trust kids.
No, for the love of God, don't.
First of all, if it's a big kid with a little kid, some shit's going down. Don't get away from it as fast as possible.
And if you see
and
your
never
kid
let a kid in your house.
Even your own kids. All right, don't trust them either.
Don't let them in your house.
Keep them outside. If you wake up, if you see them and there's a little bit of a shadow over their face, just grab them.
Check their fucking eyes when they're sleeping. Check their fucking eyes when they're sleeping. If they're black,
they're looking a little pale. They're not sick. They're demons. Throw them out of the house.
And that happened so many times in the past.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he's a fucking demon. They just burn the fucking poor kids. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for listening. That is our Black Eyed Kid episode, man.
Yeah, I like this one, man. That was good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. This is something that I actually didn't know a lot about, other than just knowing that they were around and they clearly had black eyes. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, and follow us on our social media at Instagram. I don't really do the Twitter thing much anymore, man. I can't take it. I just don't like it. And on Facebook at Gamer Ray Podcast and
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
oh god, I keep forgetting about YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
That's why I
too,
remind
yeah.
you every day, every week.
I keep forgetting we're on YouTube. Yeah, check us out on all those platforms, and we will see you next week.
All right. Bye.